something really. It has never been attempted anywhere in the world, and it is being attempted first time. And all of us have been trained in e-commerce for the past 20 years, within India and across, from the idea of a platform, where the platform is the powerful entity in the whole game. They dictate terms and they dictate, and the rest of us follow. That is the way the e-commerce work. In any, whether it is in food, whether it is in consumer good, whether it is in ride hailing, whether it is in tourism, ticket booking, anywhere, there are few large intermediaries who have the complete stranglehold on that sector. And then rest of us play as per the tone set by the intermediary. Whereas the physical market, that's not how it is. It is a brand who is the powerful entity. Either they make themselves big, established, get a usage based on how good they are, not based on who's the one which is a shopkeeper who's selling theirs. I mean, of course, the shop and the distribution channel has a major role to play, but the hero of the game is the the brand owner, and they work to make themselves relevant to the consumer base. And it is for them to succeed or them to fail. And they have the freedom to choose their destiny, which is not the case when it comes to e-commerce. They don't have that kind of freedom to choose their destiny, their target, their terms of trade, their discounts, their promotions, anything. It is all significantly determined by somebody in between. It becomes even more a challenging thing for entities who are in D2C, where they are directly trying to reach across the consumer. And then it becomes even more costly affair to reach across to this large customer base across the country and establishing yourself. And in the digital world, unless you have that kind of muscle power, you get lost in the noise of the biggies there. So that's the way where we are today, and that is what we are trying to change. Bring the power back to the brand owner and help them to establish themselves, get access to the same large user base, decide on their brand building strategy, order fulfillment strategy, discounting strategy, promotion strategy, everything. So in that way, the freedom also comes with its own responsibility on themselves and not on somebody in between. So ONDC is an enabler. And as Shiprocket, as a network participant, understand this role they play, and since a large number of the sellers are not familiar with this idea of the etiquettes of this new world, they have a developmental role to play in providing hand-holding support, in onboarding, hand-holding, supporting, and developing the strategies, everything. Like I said, with the power in the hands of the brand, and they acting as truly an enabler. And that's why I'm very happy at the initiative that is being done by Shiprocket since they became a seller network participant in the recent past. And I'm sure that that is a role that Pratik and team is taking very seriously. And I'm really happy about it. And one more advantage that they have is that they are also a logistics provider. So with this, I know today's session is planned for our team to share with you the possibilities for each of you brand owners to really make a mark in the digital world at much more efficient, cost-effective manner than that is possible in a platform-centric line. So welcome to this session. I have Shirish, who had such a long and illustrious career in the retail world in India and in Southeast Asia and China and multiple countries, working with multiple brands. And now he is a champion of in the ONDC team to help the network, to help the build network with participation from you. And of course, his team members are also there. Thank you, guys. I hand over to Shirish to take to the serious session of the day and not general GAN from me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koshi. It was really, really, truly an honor for all of us to have you here. Mr. Joshi, over to you.
Can you unshare so that I can share my...
Yeah.
So just to make sure that I stay on track, just give me a 5-minute warning before my time is up, and I'll make sure I'll finish on time. All right, so let me begin the journey a little bit of digital history. 16 years ago, India was just beginning to adopt digitization. We had barely any internet penetration. Remember, this was before 3G and the revolution that came thereafter. Less than 20% had bank accounts, less than 5% paid income tax. There really was no universal common ID. Cost of KYC was substantial. Bank branches were inaccessible, and there really was not much connectivity, digital connectivity. Now, fast forward 16 years, and we are a completely different country. We are more than 1 billion mobile connections. We are nearly 1.4 billion Aadhaar enrollments and several billion KYC on the back of that. 800 million internet users, 11 billion monthly digital payments. We contribute nearly half of world's mobile digital payments. 81% with bank accounts, 10 million GST registered businesses, and more than 1 billion bank accounts that are linked with account aggregators. So all of this was made possible by digital public infrastructure. So India is the only country in the world that is actually building population scale APIs and open networks to digitally transform society. That's who we are as a country. Now, as all those changes have taken place in identity, in payments, in banking, there are still areas that require a fair degree of disruption: credit, e-commerce, and logistics. And in some ways, ONDC brings it all together. But as Koshi explained, that in order to understand what ONDC does, we also need to unlearn. And one parallel story that I can give here is that there was a time when phone was a device with either buttons or dials and with a wire. Then along came a different device that was battery powered and that could be carried around, and we gave it a name, mobile phone. And as time has passed, we now simply refer to it as a phone and the original device as a landline. But the point is, these are not substitutes. They have one feature in common, which is making calls. But after that, the second device bears absolutely no resemblance to the first one. So the terminology is important because it sets apart something that is actually not comparable. So all e-commerce today is either a portal or a platform because it requires both parties, the buyer and the seller, to be in the platform. What ONDC is bringing is the world's first network approach to commerce. Right? So new word that we have to learn is, so far everything was a platform. Now we have a network approach to commerce. And one of the things we have to unlearn, therefore, as a result, is we used to expect in e-commerce, one party will do everything. It'll have all the resources, all the tools, everything that was ever needed, and that one party can do everything. But as even this visual metaphor indicates, that there is just not possible for one party to do everything because there'll always be something that it can't do. Right? So first is recognition of that, but also a recognition of how normal life is. So if you think about flying between two cities and look at the number of organizations you will go through, right? The travel agent through whom you bought the ticket, the taxi company that took you to the airport, the company that is managing the security that's checking you before you enter, the company that runs the airport, the second security company that is checking your bag and your personal effects, the airline that runs the company that runs the airline, the company that made the food that you ate on the airline, the company that runs the airport at the other end, and the taxi that took you to your destination. Now, in a single flight journey, you've gone through 7-8 different organizations without even thinking about it. And it's important that these are different organizations because you do not want the taxi company to make the food that you have on the flight and variations of therefore. So real life actually works when experts come together. There was a time when I had a phone and the lens was made by a different company. Today, I have a phone where the entire camera is made by a different company and the name is on the camera, is on the phone. So real business happens when the best get together and get connected with each other, not when one party tries to do everything. BPO is another example. Companies have now made it standard practice that certain work processes are actually given to somebody outside because they do it better and they also do it more cost efficiently. So bringing together experts and connecting them is actually how real life works. E-commerce wasn't like that. So that's what we've got to change. We also have to change on what we expect. And Koshi mentioned that we've sort of got brainwashed what e-commerce must be like. So I'd love to see in the chat box what people think, what pictures come to mind when we think of business to business logistics. Can you type in the chat box? Let me see what forms of transport or what forms of logistics come to mind. Trucks, railways, yeah. Trucks. All right. So this is usually what comes to mind when people think of business to business. Trucks, railways, aircraft, shipping. But if you look around our roads, this is also B2B. All the 4 vehicles on your right are business to business modes of transport. Now, if I have 20 pipes to deliver from a warehouse to a construction site, why should I hire a 9-ton truck for 8,000 rupees? Why can't I hire a bullock cart for 500 rupees? And it may get there in 3 hours and not in 10 minutes, but economically, that's far better. So the first idea is that business is not one way. There is a variety in businesses. And if we don't accommodate that, then we are leaving a whole bunch of people out. Same goes to B2C. We think of B2C as a rider on a bike with a box or a bag on the back. Now, this can cost 40, 50 rupees, depending on the distance to travel. But in our own country, we have a food delivery system that costs only 20 to 30 rupees, the Dabbawala system of Mumbai. And Mumbai is not an easy city to navigate. We have other delivery systems that actually deliver a 4 rupee item profitably. The item is 4 rupees, not the delivery cost. So if we have to think about ensuring that the commercial width diversity of the country gets brought on, then we cannot insist on a single model. We have to have a way that is flexible, that allows this variety, therefore everybody can participate. So we still want our convenience, but we must recognize that the existing one party does everything actually is limited. And therefore, how do we get to convenience, but unlimited options? And instead of one party doing everything, let each part be done by the best and connect them together. And more importantly, since we're all businesses and therefore in it for making money, rather than become part of a fixed digital system where everybody's struggling to make money or improve profitability, take what is already profitable and digitize that. Right? And so that's what really brings us to ONDC. Now, how do you do this? To do this, you don't make a product, you don't make an app. And I think the moderator probably inadvertently referred to ONDC as an app. We are not an app, we are a network. And so you have to think protocol, not product. And so those of you who ever had this, and I think most of us here should be that, this is the patent for Lego, which lays out the Lego protocol, that one piece must have a cylindrical protrusion and the other piece must be able to accept it. So 2 pieces can be connected together, which led to a bunch of pieces to be designed and which led to a bunch of things you can do with it. But these are things that the company that designed the protocol and makes the bricks have envisaged. But because the protocol is known, you can now go and build and do things that the company may not have thought of and are still possible. And here's another example of what somebody could do with their imagination using the same protocol.
So this is one of my more involved models. This is my Lego refrigerator that actually opens up. There's a couple of secrets on the inside. Of course, I like putting all of my food minifigures in here. Got the produce drawer. And actually, one of my favorite parts of this is making tiny condiments, like little sports drink, some ranch dressing, little micro scale builds. Of course, it's got a freezer. Got just some mint chocolate chip ice cream. That's all I have in my freezer at home, so that's all we need. And my favorite feature of it is we close the door, press the button, and then the ice falls out. It goes all over the floor. I have to clean it up, but you know, this actually took. So this is one of my.
So that gives you a sense of protocol does not restrict what is possible, and it allows anybody to simply use their imagination, create pretty much everything. So that's what ONDC has done. It's built a protocol that connects the components of e-commerce, allowing any sort of model to get created. Now let's see a little bit of detail of how it works. Today, buyers on one platform cannot interact with sellers on another. That's because people work with proprietary protocols. And in every e-commerce entity, you will see activities that can be grouped into 3 parts. Buyer-facing activities, what we do when we shop, searching for product, building a cart, making payment. Seller activities, so what sellers do on that platform, which is uploading their catalog, updating their inventory, managing orders. And if it's a physical product being shipped, then delivery process and fulfillment. And all these are connected by technology. Another platform in the same industry will have similar activities also connected by technology, but that's their proprietary technology. Because these are proprietary systems in a closed network, they don't talk to each other. Now, what ONDC brings in is a change to this through two factors. One is unbundling and the other is interoperability. So now you do not need one company to do all the activities. Different companies can do different parts. Somebody can do only buyer activities. Somebody can do seller activities. Somebody else can do delivery activities. So different companies are doing different parts. There is a protocol, but the protocol is common, public, and freely made available by ONDC that makes everybody interoperable. So everybody can interact with everyone. Now, as you can see, the map is exactly the same as an existing e-commerce platform. So there is no activity, no capability that is missing. What has changed is how it gets delivered. So this now results in a network where any buyer on any application can buy from any seller on any seller application, and either of them can order delivery from any logistics provider. So everyone is connected to everyone. And this is what leads to powerful capabilities. Any group of people, any organization that has a user base that they can and can either build or acquire a software that can talk to the network can be a buyer application. Today, payment companies are buyer applications, banks are buyer applications. We are expecting telecom companies to become buyer applications. There's a television channel that's going to become a buyer application. So you don't need to be an e-commerce company. You just need to have a user base that you can connect. Similarly with sellers, if you're providing any service to sellers and you have a group of sellers that are connected to you, you can become the application that connects those sellers to the network. So if you, let's say, do accounting software or a POS software, and if that software can respond to the APIs of ONDC network, that shop becomes visible to ONDC. So now you have a buyer, let's say, on a television channel buyer application, placing an order on an accounting software application, going through as seamlessly as if they were on a platform. And similarly, different companies bringing logistics and delivery services to the network. So you get a network that has everything. You have buyers brought in by a bunch of companies. You have sellers brought in by another bunch of companies, and logistics providers brought by yet another set of companies. So you have everything that is needed for e-commerce, just contributed by different parties. This is the state of the network. 12 buyer applications, we estimate well over 100 million buyers. 42 seller applications and almost 3 lakh providers, both for mobility and retail, more than 1 crore SKUs, and 13 logistics applications covering all 19,000 pin codes that matter, including hyperlocal delivery in many of the cities. And we have a pipeline that is well over 10,000, some known names, some unknown names, some Indian names, some global names. And so this is going to be a growing network on seller side, buyer side logistics as more and more capability and more scale becomes part of the network. Now, this leads to solutions that are not even possible today. So ONDC is not just, we are doing the same e-commerce differently. It actually can now fuel solutions that were inconceivable in the existing system. Let's just take an example of somebody like me who works in Delhi, who gets, let's say, posted for a year to Kerala. So person needs a suitcase, needs a flight ticket, needs a service apartment for a year, and maybe also wants to learn the local language. Today, you have to go to 4 different platforms, experience 4 different journeys, 4 different checkouts in order to fulfill these 4 needs. But once all products and services are on a single network, it's as easy as adding a suitcase to cart, adding a flight ticket to cart, adding a service apartment to cart, adding language lessons to cart, and one checkout. There is nothing today in anywhere in the e-commerce world where you can accomplish anything like this, because each platform is a specialist in an area. Today, you can't book a taxi on the application on which you order food. You can't buy a pencil on the application on which you book a taxi. Everyone has built an application for a very, very narrow use case, and they try to refine and make that more efficient. But there is no way where you can get everything through a single application. And if you think about the internet actually works in that fashion, right? Think of all the activities you do on the internet, doing your email, doing research for your work, looking up fun stuff, watching videos, doing your banking. You don't go to a different browser for each of those activities. It's just one browser and you do all the activities through that one single browser. So it is possible when the network is open and everyone is connected to everyone, that through a single interface, you can do everything. So when we look at benefits, for buyers, the benefit is a single platform access to all domains. All sellers are visible through a single interface and a wider set of choices. For sellers, lots of benefits. A seller with a single registration on one application is now discoverable by the entire buyer universe. You don't have to individually list in multiple places. You can also co-opt complementary services that are low cost, like the BPO example, because BPO pricing is not based on the volume that they have with you. Their pricing is based on a much larger volume. Or think of postal services. Postal services don't price their products or their delivery costs on the basis of your volume with them. They do it on the basis of the entire scale at which they operate. So you will get scale value, even though you may not be at scale. You can choose how to operate, your rules, your terms. You can decide whether to accept returns or not accept returns, how much commission to give, whether you want money before you ship or you're willing to wait 24 hours and no more. So you can declare your rules, and all these collectively help you improve profitability. Plus, you can have access to analytics. The reputation is linked with you, not with the platform. So it is portable. You can change your seller application and your reputation stays with you because it's your effort, your asset. So it should not be locked inside a platform the way it is today. And no risk of disintermediation, because a lot of small traders are worried that if they join e-commerce, then the e-commerce marketplace will use all that data and replace them as sellers by building their own supply chain. Technology companies also have an opportunity to maximize the value because you don't need to build the entire e-commerce solution. Even if you build one component, then on the back of that component, the other parts are coming from the network and you can scale. So for example, if you, let's say, build a search tool based on Indic languages, then that can just be a plugin to all buyer applications. And whatever royalty they pay you becomes a revenue stream. You don't have to build the entire buyer application. You don't even have to get the buyers. You don't have to get the sellers. Nothing. All you did was build that plugin and you can use that to grow your revenue. So because of this open nature, a lot of parties who could not have expected to be on e-commerce are there. People who build brands with a certain philosophy. Traditional products are available on our network. Auto rickshaw drivers are there, and not only they're multiplying their earning and delighted and not wanting to go back. Original weavers, artisans, handicraft makers, they are there on our network earning lakhs of orders. Self-help groups who make, this is Kudumbushri in Kerala, that make food products, they're getting hundreds of orders. So it no longer requires you to be an existing e-commerce or a digitized entity. It does not even require you to be large or sophisticated or even be present in urban centers. You can be anywhere in the country and be part of this. So let me share with you a short film that expresses this philosophy.
भारत खुलेगा।
अबे राजू, ये मूंग दाल हल्दी मिर्ची पैक हुआ क्या? आज हो गया। हम तो पूरे शहर में डिलीवरी कर रहे हैं।
ओएनडीसी के साथ छोटे से मोहल्ले में शहर का सबसे बड़ा सुपर स्टोर खुलेगा।
ये रहा, रुको।
सड़क किनारे बनते दियों के लिए बड़े बड़े बंगलों का दरवाजा खुलेगा। ये मैं और ये मेरे पापा ना बचपन में मेरे लिए कल्लू की बताशे लाते थे।
तेरे लिए क्या?
अभी मंगवाता हूँ। मिठाई की दुकानों के साथ साथ बचपन की यादों का झरोखा खुलेगा। अलीगढ़ का ताला पंजिम, पटियाला, चेन्नई के हाथों से खुलेगा।
कुल्फी खाने का मन कर रहा है। इस टाइम चलिए साथ में करते हैं।
चाहे मंगवानी हो काम की चीज या कुछ भी चटर पटर, काका काकी के लिए किसी भी टाइम हर दुकान, हर शटर आसानी से खुलेगा। इस ओपन नेटवर्क के साथ मिस सपना के सपने खुलेंगे। मिसेस श्रीनिवासन की सोच खुलेगी। मिस्टर एंड मिसेस कपूर का आने वाला कल खुलेगा। मांडी शाह के अचार की तारीफ में पूरे देश का मुंह खुलेगा। मिश्रा जी की टैक्सी का दरवाजा सनी, बनी, हनी, टोनी के साथ साथ टूरिस्ट, हनीमूनर्स, सीईओज सबके लिए खुलेगा। खुशियां खुलेंगी, तरक्की खुलेगी, आशाएं खुलेंगी, ख्वाहिशें खुलेंगी, आसानी खुलेगी। जब ओएनडीसी नेटवर्क पर हर तरह के बिजनेस के लिए भारत खुलेगा, तो करोड़ों कस्टमर्स और दुकानदारों के लिए बेचने और खरीदने का नया तरीका खुलेगा। ओएनडीसी नेटवर्क पर अब हर बिजनेस के लिए भारत।
So hopefully that also answers some of the questions I see being typed in the chat box, which is, I do pet care, will it be there for this? I'm working with women entrepreneurs, B2C, B2B. Will that be possible? Everything is possible. All categories, all products, all services, one by one are joining the network. So this is the email to reach out to us. Of course, I'll take more questions, but that's the quick short answer to the questions I saw getting typed. So for every business, now you can hope that the entire country is available as a market. Har business ke liye Bharat khulega. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shirish sir. It was actually very, very insightful for all of us. Now I would request Prateek to, explain the seller NP to the audience.
Sure. Thank you, Tanya. Thanks a lot, Shirish and Koshi, for this powerful delivery that you gave. I think as Koshi mentioned that the network wants to bring power in the hands of the seller. Uh, we truly believe which can enable sellers to have the full control of what they want to sell, how they want to sell. Shiprocket wants to be that enabler who wants to be the growth partner for our sellers in unlocking the immense possibilities that we have with the network. As Kochi and Shirish rightly explained how the network operates, I think how we kind of add value to the entire ecosystem. We work as a, or we are enabled as a seller network participants when we are helping enable the catalog on the network. So whatever you want to sell, we can easily enable that catalog and push it to the network via which it is enabled on multiple buyer apps like a Paytm or a pin code and others. Now, once the order has come, the other thing is how we can seamlessly deliver. So we're also enabled as a logistic app. So all in all, we enable the catalog and we ensure that the post-checkout experience is seamless. So this is what Shiprocket is trying to do in the entire ecosystem. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So I think it's been explained that ONDC is definitely something which has immense possibilities. Now, how Shiprocket can powerhouse all these opportunities in a very simple way. Get onboarded on Shiprocket via seller app. I'll explain in later, key 4 steps in which you can get onboarded onto the network. Once you get onboarded, your catalog is visible within 48 hours on the entire network. So all the buyer apps will be able to publish your catalog within 48 hours of you saying that, yes, I want to be part of the network. The orders, once it comes, gets automatically synced. You don't have to do anything manually. We have our AI recommended engine, which finalize the courier for you. And then we manage the end-to-end delivery management experience. So all in all, there's zero hassle. You're getting additional demand and it is being fulfilled at the lowest hassle that you can think of with the lowest cost. This is what Shiprocket and ONDC is trying to do together. Oh, next slide. So what we've observed is, there are 12 million retail sellers in India, but only 150,000 sellers are actually embracing the e-commerce. The gap is huge. You know why? A very simple answer. The e-commerce even today remains inaccessible for many sellers. This is what I believe is something that we can solve with this network approach, wherein this network enables sellers to get onto the e-commerce platform as easily, as seamlessly as possible. As Shiprocket, we are super excited to be part of this growth journey with ONDC. We want not just one, but all the sellers to get benefited by the entire potential that the network can offer. What we are now trying to do, we are trying to bridge this gap of inaccessibility by doing some simple things. We are helping sellers onboard on the ONDC network seamlessly. We are helping them onboard at the lowest cost, so that the exorbitant marketplace fees are not something they have to pay. They don't have to manage multiple platforms for their orders. With one single enablement, they can help get orders from multiple buyers. And this all we do not just not just via multiple say tech interventions. It is more about one single click onboarding and then getting orders across the network. We enabled some 600 plus sellers in a span of some 3 to 4 months. Can you move to the next slide, please? We have key brands like Zoff, Bata, Open Secrets, Man Company, Jiva. In a span of some 2 to 3 months, we are getting a turnover around 500 5 crores from the sellers. I think I'll hand it over to Akash, who has been benefited via this network, and to tell the story of what he thinks about the network and how the network has helped him.
Thank you, Pratik. Hello, everyone. I'm Akash Agrawal, founder of
Akash, you're on
Zob Food.
mute.
We can hear you, Akash. You can continue.
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. You all might have seen me in Shark Tank season 2 last year. So, Zob is a spices brand, and we are considered as the e-commerce first brand. We started our business in 2018, and it's 2024, and our major business come through e-commerce. So when I was scaling in e-commerce in all the platforms like Ecom, Flipkart, Amazon, Big Basket, and Bigcom, I came to know about ONDC. And when we'll go in detail and try to understand what exactly ONDC is, as Mr. Kosi and Mr. Serin explained you about ONDC, I think this is the next revolution which is going to happen in India with such huge population, with such uses of mobile and internet. I think ONDC will be one of the biggest, network or revolution you will see, similar to how UPI is being. So I think it's one of the amazing platform where every e-commerce brand has to be present if they want to scale, if they want their product to reach all the corners of India. There are limitations in all the e-commerce platform, but as ONDC says, it's an open network. I think you have the liberty to choose your product, to list whatever product in the platform you want to sell, and at a very low cost. And it's not only limited to a category, any category can list in the ONDC. That's the beauty of it. So they are trying to, connect all the categories with all the technology available, all the platforms. And we started in January month. We got listed through Shiprocket, and I think their seamless technology, whatever they have developed, it takes, I think, hardly 1 hour to get your product listed. So that's the technology they have developed. And I think what's better than to get associated with a seller platform like Shiprocket? They have the best technology. Apart from that, you get the courier facility also. Logistic wise, also, you have the you have to work with the best in India. Tanya, we can move toward the next slide. The performance in ONDC, I just want to, tell how we have scaled up in this last 2 months. So this is a journey so far with ONDC. I think this is phenomenal. In this 6 year, we haven't got such type of response in any of the platform. First month, we got 12,000 orders. Second month is still running, and we are closing around 29,000 orders, and hopefully we'll close by 35,000 orders. Every day we are getting more than 1,000 orders. And I think this type of orders you cannot expect from any of the e-commerce platform. So this is the power of ONDC. You are connected all across India with so many buyers app. You have the chance to reach across India. And even like on the best of the day, we have got more than 4,500 orders. So this is a performance which we have done, and we believe anyone, any brand which comes to ONDC, I think that will definitely add on to their business, to their volume, to their reach. And I think I have a long journey with ONDC, and I believe this will be a game changer going ahead. Maybe in a year, it should cross all the, I'm talking about Zob, it should cross the revenue across all the platforms. So yeah, that's about ONDC and our journey. And kudos to Shiprocket and Mr. Pratik, the way they are handling each brand. I think I'll just recommend everyone to just get listed in ONDC as soon as possible, because it will take hardly an hour to get you listed. What's better than that? And all the command will be with you, from listing the product, from changing the price, that too at a very minimum margin that you have to give. So I think everyone should try to get themselves listed as soon as possible. Contacting Mr. Pratik. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Akash, for sharing the insights.
Thank you, Akash. It, Thank you, Akash. I think it's good to hear from the sellers, and it's really good when we see that what the network started is actually helping. We just don't want to restrict it to one success story. We really want it to be 100,000, a lakh of sellers explaining these stories every now and then. I'll quickly tell how can we enable the seller to get onboarded, right? As I mentioned earlier, it's a very simple process. What you have to do is log in into the Shiprocket account. There you will see an ONDC tab. Just sign the agreement. It's a quick click grab agreement, not more than 2 seconds. Fill out the necessary details. These details are more about your company ID, your Aadhaar card, etc. The normal KYC details. So accept the agreement. Write on your details. Tani, can you move to the next slide? The third step is adding the catalog. So we have a very seamless process to add catalog. If you're connected via Shopify channel, we pull your catalog and you don't have to do literally anything. But in case you're not connected via any channel, we do provide a very simple interface to upload your catalog. And once the catalog is uploaded, I think within 48 hours, all your catalog will be displayed on the buyer apps. So it's more like nothing much. One, get onboarded, enroll into the Shiprocket app. Second, add your key details for KYC. Third, link your catalog in case it is not connected via channel, upload it via simple Excel format, and then just that. Your orders will start, or your catalog will be visible on all the buyer apps. Next slide, please. All this, I think, just to make it more interesting, what we want is we really want to be that enabler which easily let the sellers get onboarded. So to make it more easy, more cost friendly or pocket friendly, we're also having that special discount, flat 6% commission till 30th April 2024. What it means is no referral fees, nothing at all. 6% of the order value being the commission is what we will charge for you to fulfill your catalog, to enable your catalog on the network, fulfill your order, end-to-end escalation management, end-to-end delivery management. That all is included in this 6%. Oh, I believe this slide did not get updated. So I'll just tell you, before you join into this webinar, we sent a message last night asking sellers to get onboarded on the Shiprocket seller app and onto the network. I'm happy to say that we received some 60 responses in the morning, and 50 of them, the catalog for them was already pushed to the network. Within 48 hours, those 50 sellers will be live on the network. So this is the power of tech that we have. We got the response in the morning. In an hour or two, the catalog is enabled onto the network. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, it will be live on the buyer apps. Don't miss out onto this opportunity. I would request you to please complete your KYC, share it on the LinkedIn, tag us. The first 3 sellers will operate at a 0% commission for the next 3 months. Nothing you have to pay. Just get onboarded, just get linked, share it onto the network, and enjoy the benefits that the network can offer.
Thank you so much, Prateek, for such exciting offers that we are giving to the sellers that we have as an audience for this webinar. We'll quickly move on to the Q&A session. I would request everyone to type in your questions if you have any. In the meantime, you can also scan the QR code, which is on the next slide. If you could, Gaurav, please move into the next slide. You can quickly scan the QR code. Join the community that we have of the extensive sellers like you are, and then you can network with the peers, and interact with them on a regular basis. We have so many questions which are there. I'll quickly read up some of the questions that we can answer in the interest of time. So there is a question by Sonu Juneja who is asking if ONDC do not have a category for pet and apparel and accessories or any pet related products. So how they can register themselves, because they're finding it a little harder to register on the seller network. Mr. Shirish, if you could kindly take this question.
Yes. So we right now don't have pet identified as a category, but regardless, any seller can register and have their catalog also live, where people search for a product by name, then they will be able to find you as a seller. So it may not be as a category that can be shown as a category, but any seller can become part of the network even today.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. There is another question by the name is anonymous. So we are women-owned small business dealing with kitchen spices. We want to cater to both B2B and B2C. We have just started our business. How can ONDC help us build our business?
So ONDC supports both B2C and B2B. Obviously, what you offer B2C, if nothing else, at least in pricing, is different from B2B. So you might sell at a price less of margin to the retailer, and the retailer sells it at price to consumer. So that's the only difference if it's the same item. But both are enabled on the network. And today we have retailers buying from distributors on the network, even as we have retailers selling to consumers. So both are possible.
There's a question from the seller side, from the customer side. There's asking how a customer will find a product on ONDC seller. Is any app or a normal search on the internet?
So I think the full answer you can get if you visit ondc.org and just click on the top, how to shop, and you will get all the guidance there. There are multiple apps that are live on our network. So as with UPI, where you can use one of many apps to make the payment, same with ONDC, you can use one of many apps to do the shopping.
Sure. There is another question, again, anonymous. So they're asking, how will our product get displayed in the platform? Do we have to run ads to be on the top of the list, or other, like other platforms, other marketplaces such as Amazon and Flipkart?
So that's more a platform question because that's how platforms operate. In the case of open network, you are visible on all buyer applications. It's almost asking, if I have a website, what do I have to do with each of the browsers? Do I pay each browser to show me first? And actually not. Or if you were an airline and you launched a new sector, would you pay money to individual travel agents to show your flight at the top? You probably will not. So the behavior and the practices to drive your business on an open network will look and feel different from existing platforms. Now, having said that, platforms have a user base, they have traffic, and any entity that has audience and a traffic can be somewhere you can advertise. That's what we do with videos today. That's what we used to do with TV channels earlier. So separate the discussion of advertising as a choice to having to advertise and no option but to not advertise it. And so that is a different discussion in open network. You can actually conduct business pretty much as you are, because no matter where the consumer is, in order whatever they're looking for, if you match what they're looking for, then you will be part of the response that comes.
Sure. Thank you, sir. There is another question from Kavita Vinod. She's asking, is there any commission on ONDC if they, onboard themselves?
Sure. So right now there are 3 places, of which one place is 0. So the seller network participants that onboard sellers have a commercial arrangement. Some do it as a percentage fee, some do it as a SaaS fee, some do it as a subscription. There are different models. On the buyer side, by and large, it is being charged as a percentage commission of the transaction value. And our estimate is that the combined total of both those as a percentage of transaction value is averaging less than 10% across the network, across categories. Obviously, there are variations individually. ONDC currently is free. And we do anticipate at some point in time to start charging. But much like the internet, where you pay what, $40, $50 a year for having a domain of your own, that is a very, very small fraction of the total business you do every year. So we do expect that when we do start charging for the network, it'll be so small as to not make it difficult for even the smallest of transactions. And at a large scale, even that small charge that we do will be sufficient to cover our costs.
Sure. Sure. Same question to you, Prateek. So, is there any onboarding charges that someone has to pay if they go through Shiprocket?
So there's no onboarding charges. There's zero onboarding charges. We don't charge anything upfront. The only charge is the commission that you have to pay on the orders that you get, which I mentioned is say 6% for the next 3 months. And other than that, there's no onboarding charges.
Do you also provide multiple templates to choose from to show e-commerce? That's a question from Vanita Tiwari. I didn't understand the question clearly, but do you provide multiple template to choose from to show e-commerce?
Okay, so I think if your question is that how the catalog is visible onto the network and is there multiple formats to show your catalog, from a seller perspective, no. There are particular details that are required to be filled in to update the catalog. Yes, there are multiple buyer apps who have a way to show the catalog, but more or less they are like similar. So there are no different formats which are there. There's a simple format of asking for the data for catalog, and the representation of the catalog may differ a bit by as per the buyer apps, but it is not a very big difference, and there's nothing additional that a seller has to do.
Right. So we have a question from Naman Jan. He's asking, how do I get discount, of 6% commission that you have just asked, told the audience?
So you just to share your, I think you got the message from the team. After this webinar, also we're going to send the WhatsApp message to each one of you. Just click on it. Yes, I'm interested. That's it. We'll take care of the rest.
And how the top 3 sellers will get selected? That's the question we have from Roshan.
So that depends really on the buyer application and what choices you make. Right? And so the buyer application, based on your past behavior, may have an initial ordering that they present with you, but you will have the option to choose a different method. Sometimes you might want something that is the fastest. Sometimes you might want the best quality first. Sometimes you might want the cheapest first. So no application can gauge what is in your mind on a particular occasion. So they will organize it in some fashion, but you will have the option to organize it differently based on your preference and requirements and use that to select what you need.
Yeah, and I think Shirish, the other thing was maybe the question was also related to what we said that the first 3 sellers are going to get 0% commission. So how are we going to track that is just get onboarded, complete your KYC, go to the panel, click on the ONDC tab, get to the KYC and the terms and conditions signed, upload your catalog. Once you are live, once you do that, share it on the social media. Our PR team, our social media team is tracking it. They will pick who are the 3 top sellers who tagged us first, and then we'll enable the 0% commission for them.
Right. We have a question from Darshak, and I think they are into sports equipment, and they're asking if there is any, restrictions in the category there.
Tani, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I did not get it.
Okay. So we have a question from Darshak. Is there any category restriction? We sell sports equipments.
No, there is no restriction. If it is legal, then you can do it here. Obviously, there are certain categories that are not permitted for online. Liquor is one of them. So whatever the law allows is all legitimate here. Whatever the law restricts, then it's the law that is restricting it. We do not have any additional restrictions.
Right. Sure. Thank you, sir. There is another question. How many, buyer apps do we have right now? Network. Buyer apps, they mean network. So how many networks, we are?
We have 12 buyer apps live on the network right now.
Right. And can you, sir, name a few of them so that, there are a lot of questions regarding that. So if you could.
So some of the names that will be more familiar. So those of you who have Paytm, if you open your Paytm app right now, you will see that little menu bar at the bottom where you have the QR code in the middle. Right to the left of that, you will see ONDC and a shopping cart sign. You click that and you enter the shopping portal. Similarly, those of you who have Ola, open Ola, and right next to the taxi rides and rentals, you will see ONDC food. And Ola so far has enabled only food. So you can shop for food from the restaurants on the network through Ola. Pin code is another application. The PhonePe company has built a custom-built application for ONDC called Pin code. That's one more. Others like MyStore are a website. So you can go to mystore.in, magicpin.in, and do that. So simplest is at any point in time, this is what is the current state right now. But any point in time, go to ondc.org, and right at the top, we have provided a how to shop button. Click on that and you will get to see whoever is live at that point in time.
There is another question. Shiprocket seller app was mentioned. I didn't see any message. Can this be shared again, please? I think we will be sharing, again with all the participants here. We'll be sharing, you will get an email or through WhatsApp. We'll surely be reaching out to each one of you.
Also,
Is
in
it-
case, I see there are a lot of questions, right? And maybe you're not able to address all of these. If possible, if, we have this support ONDC at shiprocket.com. If you can just post your query on this email ID, we will definitely revert on it with all your queries.
There is one set of questions that I'm seeing coming through repeatedly regarding the logistics fees and if the commission includes that. So no, this commission is only meant for the business operations of that service provider. Logistics is charged separately, and it is shown as a separate line item.
Sure, absolutely. So guys, you can reach out to us. You can mail it to us. We have already provided you with all the email IDs and necessary details. In the meantime, you can, of course, join the community. You can scan this QR code and you can interact with the peers. You can interact with Shiprocket and ONDC on a regular basis. I would like to thank all of you for joining in. And thank you, Prateek. Thank you, Sirish. And thank you, Akash, for giving us such an insightful webinar. I would really appreciate each and every one of you for joining in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.